we want to find the volume of the solid below. Okay, the 4 centimeters is representing the conical section, or the 4 centimeters in the conical section is the height. So we know the height of a cone. Okay, it says it, conical is the cone. Now, we are told that the height of the cone is 4, and we see that we're also given on the diagram the radius. All right, so the radius is equal to 3. All right, so the radius is 3. The h is equal to 4. Okay, so the height of the cone is needed for volume. All right, so you need to underline volume and know that we're dealing with a cone and a cylinder. Alright, so the cylinder part of it is here and here. Well, the cylinder is in between, in the middle of 2 cones. Okay? And you have cone on the left, cone on the right, and a cylinder in the middle. And we're finding volume. Okay? So you want to go to your formula chart and you want to write down, you want to go to the volume section here and write down the cylinder, pi r squared h, and you also want to write down 1/3 pi r squared h for the cone. Okay, that is the 2 formulas needed. Okay, but then you got to match the reading to this problem. Okay, all right, so when we get started here, if I begin writing down the cone 1/3 times the pi r squared h times pi r squared h, if I don't forget here that I got 2 cones that are identical, then you'll need to do something like this, where you've got from left to right doing the 1/3 plus the cylinder pi r squared h plus the 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, all right, or it's this one times 2. There's 2 of them. All right, when you come back now and look at this, here's some additional instructions, and one of the instructions is we're letting pi be 3.14. Alright, now you should remember that there are 2 cones, so you could take care of the 2 cones by doing 2 times the 1/3, okay, times 3.14. remember, at this point here, after you get your formulas wrote down, okay, you want to get them all wrote down like this, and then start manipulating your, to help you make sense of it, and to remind yourself that pi, something you have to do something with pi. In some of these problems, sometimes you just leave pi alone, and sometimes you don't even use the pi in the calculation. Got to remember. And then you got distracted. Okay, somehow or another we got distracted. Start from the very beginning. Okay, why did I write down the 2? There was 2 of those. I remembered I was going to do times 2, and then bring down the 1/3, the pi, and just keep following the formula. R is 3 Okay, so times 3 squared, get that squeezed in there, and then height. Well, this is me organizing my thoughts. The radius of the cone, I'm going from left to right with my figures. So the radius and the height is 4 for the cone. Now, I got to keep remembering that I took care of both cones up here and not to go write that down again. So here's my cylinder. Okay, I'm gonna, so we're not confused with what I'm writing here, and I'm going to bring down my cylinder here, replacing pi with 3.14, and then times radius of the cylinder is the same throughout. Cone and cylinder, the radius is the same. So I'm going to put 3 squared here. My multiplication dot, don't forget those. In this case here now, for my cylinder, the height is 10. Okay? Alright, now, and don't continue bringing this down. Now you could, alright, if you didn't remember to multiply by 2, because there's 2 cones, took care of it there. But if you did write it down, that's okay, just don't put the 2 out here. Now, what you want to do is go to the calculator and type all this in, all at once, alright? Should be doing that now. Get this wrote down. Go to your calculator, type all this in, okay? Alright, now you get distracted. You pressed enter too fast before double checking to make sure you typed it in correctly and you're getting the wrong answer, or you just wanting to make sure that you got the right answer. You need to look at your calculator and make it match what we've got here. A lot of times you put a multiplication dot where it should have been a plus sign, alright, or you left off a number. Alright, how are you going to remind yourself what to do? You got to go back to your formula. Did you bring everything in, everything down correctly? Okay, that's it. Alright, you need to be finishing this problem up. You need to be, getting a number. I'm letting you finish this. You need to be typing that in and get me an answer. I want to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, your answer choices will have 2 decimal places. Alright, when you look at the answer choices here, there's 2 decimal places. That's rounding to the nearest hundredth. Alright, so the first one to the right of the decimal is tenth, and then the hundredths. The next one is thousandths.